Hey guys, Kalltorak here. Today, I'm bringing you my final update for my Bureau's Reflect Ignite Infernalist. I'm relatively happy with where it's at. It's definitely my favorite build of the league, and my go-to mapping build. Let's dive into all the major changes. Most impactful update from the last video is the addition of Scythe Spear. By running Lacerate instead of Rapid Assault, you're able to very easily bleed the target, then aggravate that bleed, causing the Ignite to aggravate, which will then spike your damage. Now, one thing I want to mention is that there's talk going around about how critical weakness is giving Bureaus a 100% chance to crit right now. People are saying if GGG were to patch this, that this will kill the build, which it might. However, I think Thorns style will be fine. The other style will suffer, but I currently have a 90% crit chance with Thorns, so this specific style very well may survive some nerfs, but we'll see. The next biggest change was to the passive tree. So, over the last week, across all my Reflect builds, I've been trying to solve one major problem: one-shots. No matter what I've tried, no matter what defensive combos and options I use, it's just inevitable that I'm going to eventually die to a one-shot. With heavy currency investment, getting items like Defiance of Destiny might help with one-shots, but those are outside of my budget. In reality, it's just going to be a core problem with Reflect builds until GGG balances a lot of the one-shots out of the game. Seriously, the Fire Skeleton boss, which for some reason shows up on multiple maps like Hidden Grotto and Abyss, probably has led to more of my deaths than all of my deaths combined. I straight up just skip maps with this boss now, and if I have to go through it, I burn a map at the location just to make sure the boss mod is gone. So yeah, I've just accepted that with this build and Reflect builds in general, I'm going to occasionally die. Unless I learn every single mechanic that can one-shot me, which seems unlikely. So, just a disclaimer that, yeah, if you gotta get hit to deal damage, you're probably just gonna splat a lot. It sucks, but welcome to Reflect builds for the time being. But that's what the new passive tree is designed around. I got my block chance high to try and avoid taking damage as much as possible. Outside of that, I did everything I could to maximize my damage so I can farm bosses easier. But again, maybe with ultra currency investment you can solve these problems. The build is still cracked and a lot of fun to play. I love mapping on this build. I clear Waystone 16s in 2 to 3 minutes pretty consistently. I just shield charge around and everything explodes. Okay, so let's quickly run through all of the changes with the build. I'm only going to go through the changes with the build and like all of my thoughts with stuff. I'm not going to go into all the details. So if you're looking for like gem breakdowns and stuff, I'm only talking about the changes. So go watch the original video if you want all the changes. The main thing that took a while, and I guess over the last week, across all of my Reflect characters, is I've been trying to solve one-shots, and it just hasn't been possible. On my Chronomancer, I tried mana stacking and a bunch of stuff, recoup stuff. On my Warbringer, I've tried maxing block. On this character, I've tried so many stuff, and then even in my comments, I've seen people talking about doing, like, conversion stuff, where you convert a lot of stuff to fire damage or other elements, and none of it is just working out perfectly. Now, I haven't gotten all the min-max stuff yet, like Defiance of Destiny, but it just seems like, again, in a build where you have to deal damage, you have to take damage to deal damage, it's just inevitable that you're going to get one shot. So, what I have done is I have just, at least with this build, reduced my chance to get one shot as much as possible by increasing my block chance and then just maximize my damage otherwise. It's inevitable that I'm just going to get one shot with this build. So I've just accepted that, with better balance and stuff. GGG might adjust things. But right now, just in the state of 0.2, there's just so many abilities that just, like, it's just, especially with no death recap, I just don't know whatever kills me half the time, I don't know if I need to, like, invest into critical hit reductions, or I'm getting one shot by chaos damage too much, fire damage too much. It's just, I don't really know what I'm dying to sometimes, so I just reduce my damage, my chance of dying as much as possible by getting my block to 60%. And then, yeah, that's about it. I've got my critical hit to 90% chance, that 585% crit damage bonus. At one point, this was a lot higher. This was around like 900%, I think. But I was just like, I had given up so much, so I invested more into getting my block chance higher. But yeah. So a couple things I want to talk about is, one, we've added the Aggravate bleed with Scythe Spear. You look at the skill gems, I've got Martial Tempo, Lacerate, and Hit and Run. Hit and Run is important. It basically makes the whole Rapid Assault go off in like half a second. And with every hit, you have a chance to bleed, and then once the bleed's up, those hits have the ability to aggravate the bleed and then ignite on the boss, or whatever mob you're hitting at the time. So the hit and run just makes it to where you can get the attack off instantly and then continue to move. And usually, because of the ignite duration, by the time the ignite falls off, you'll have rapid assault back. So it's never like too bad of a deal where it's like, oh, I wish it was up because it's always down. No, not really. It's always up whenever you want it to be up. One technique I've added, though, is I've added barbs with bullseye, just for the accuracy rating, to a spear stab. There are a lot of moments, again, where you're trying to avoid one-shots where you want to proc Beerus. If you poke the boss, it'll proc the barbs, and then that crit will proc Beerus to get you like a free Beerus proc. Sometimes, if the spear stab is what crits and not the thorns that crits, it seems to like be a significant damage loss. Like the Beerus won't do any damage at all. But if it's the thorns that crits, it seems to do like the same amount of damage. It's really inconsistent, but it is an alternative option where it's just like it's too risky to take damage, or you know they're doing like attack animations that won't be proccing your thorns. You can use the spear stab in those moments. Now you do have to keep in mind that when you have your spear out, you don't have your scepter out, which means you're not applying the malice effect to bosses, and then I have a way lower block chance on this shield, so I need a higher block chance on my shield. But you always want to make sure that you swap back to your main shield. So in order to do that, in like all of my skills that that matter, I have it set to where they only work in weapon set 1. So like I'm always like immediately going back to weapon set 2, and only rapid assault and spear stab use weapon set 2 right now. Again, you're going to have to be mindful of that. So after you do your rapid assault, you're going to want to like cast Resonating Shield, or put up shield block on, or raise shield on your bars, to where you're using the raise shield that's equipped to that shield, right? You just need to do something to make sure you're always swapping back to your scepter after you do your spear stab. Looking at the gear, so I got rarity on my gloves, I got rarity on my ring, and I got rarity on my neck. Again, this is my currency farm character, so got rarity where I could. And then just maxing life wherever I could. Got my resistances capped through my my rune sots. I don't think anything major has changed about the gear. Oh, I got a new amethyst ring, the black flame. I got a higher magnitude % roll with a lower reduction to the ignite duration. That's really it for the changes to the gear. Oh, I did add the Sanguisarium. Felt like I was dying a lot more to bleed. At one point, I was running 2 Forsaken Bangles just to get the extra Chaos Res, because it has the plus 18 Chaos Res on it, right? But I was dying to bleed too much, so I swapped this. If you find that you're like more mindful about bleed and can navigate it easier, or just don't have a problem with bleed, I just like brain off too much, and then will just find myself dying to bleed because I'm not paying attention. You don't need to run this. I would run potentially a Forsaken Bangle just to get your Chaos Res higher, or the Freeze Charm. But for me, I've been running the Bleed in my 3rd slot. Okay, so yeah, for the Anoint, I swapped the Lasting Trauma, and that leads to talking about the skill tree. So I don't know if Lasting Trauma or Cooked are better. I mean, Cooked is 60% increased critical damage bonus, but you lose the global defensives, versus Lasting Trauma, which is increased magnitude and increased duration of ailments. It's your choice. I'm testing Lasting Trauma right now. They're about the same price. I believe they both cost a Suffering, right? This is a Suffering, yeah, and then this bugger's a Suffering. Yeah, it's about the same price, so it's really pick your choice. Right now, I'm doing Lasting Trauma. The next change is, let's talk about the From Nothing for Oasis. The way From Nothings work is they let you put passives around the node. So here's Oasis, the From Nothing I have. Allow me to put all these points here. So I've got the fast-acting toxins for the amulets to deal damage faster, and then the increased magnitude here. Again, I pathed up here specifically to get the block chance. If you don't want the block chance, if you feel like being around 40%, because your shield will roughly have around 40% block chance if you get a high block shield, you don't need these points. You can drop them. I'm running 60% block chance just to block more. I mean, just less likely to die, but, you know, you're still going to die, so you might want to invest into damage. Really, it's just your own choice here. But, yeah, you can take these points out. At one point, like I said, I had a way higher crit chance. I had those points out, and I had path up. Where is it? I pathed down here, and I got these crit damage bonus stuffs here with allocated with cooked, and my crit damage bonus was insanely high. So there's a lot of ways you can spin it, but to me, I just, yeah, this is what I have landed on. It has made me die less, and my damage is still good. There are other ways this can be pathed, like there's so many Beros builds out there. If you're not liking, like if you still want to increase the survivability like my old version had, where I had a lot of this resistance stuff here, I mean, you can go for it, but I felt like even with like, dude, I put so much into it. Like, I lowered my damage so much just to make myself as tanky as I possibly could, and I was still dying to one shot. So you can go back to running to more defensive styles, but this is where I am at currently. I don't think, I didn't change any other jewels. This is just, yeah, this is where it's at. I think it's just a unfortunate downside with the current state of the early access is that there's just a lot of one-shots. You know, at some point during this patch, I'm going to do a big feedback video on, like, all the Thorns stuff and talk about, like, all the, like, really toxic enemies that Thorns has to deal with, so hopefully they start getting adjusted in future patches. But, yeah, that's just really the state of the build right now. Let me know if you have any feedback and your thoughts. And that's the build. Don't expect updates unless GGG does something drastic with the patch this Friday. My next build is probably going to be a Thorns Chronomancer, but after that, I'm thinking a Poison Shield Charge Chalupa Monk. If you guys have enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe. Apologies to Darth microtransaction, we once again ran out of time. Take care, boys. See you in the next one.